The Chinese government has been hoping that during this trade fight that the consumer would be able to help hold up the economy. Well, there are indications now that all of that bad news that you listed out is weighing on people's minds and scaring them into saving rather than spending. Consumers have been holding back on big ticket items such as cars. Sales in September dropped 11.6% from a year ago. Smartphone sales have been weakening all year with third quarter numbers. China shipments down 10% from a year ago. Now, we spoke to one worried consumer, a corporate lawyer, and he said that he's cutting back his monthly spending by 25%. Now, that does not bode well for foreign brands, which tend to price higher in this market across industries. This is what he said.
As a veteran Apple fan, I would buy all the newly released products every year. But this year, I only got myself an iPhone XS Max. In the past, I would spend a lot on foreign brands, but this year, due to the weakening renminbi and the trade war, I switched to domestic brands. I used to go to Starbucks all the time.
Now, if this consumption downgrade, as it's being described here, holds, then there could be two potential outcomes. First, policymakers are going to have another big headache on their hands as they try to manage the economy and meet their own growth targets. But also, this could be a problem for U.S. markets because investors are already concerned about a China slowdown. And if there is a widespread pullback on consumption, that would potentially hurt a lot of American companies that have operations here and rely on this market. Guys?
Right. Trying to figure things out. I just wonder, what is, we're going to have a gentleman on from the Retail Federation. He really doesn't like these tariffs, and it's hurting everyone. And I want to ask, shouldn't tell you what I'm going to ask him because he might be watching, but I want to ask him if he could go to, if he could go to President Trump and Lighthizer and Navarro or whomever and say, here's what I want you to do. Here's how I want you to bring this situation with China to a conclusion. Here's what I want you to do to help it. I just wonder what it would be. I just wonder what at this point, how you back down from either side, how this finally gets resolved or whether it just I don't know. We're no closer to being able to see the end game now than we were 2, 3, 4. We're probably further away. Eunice, do you have a suggestion?
No, it's difficult to say. I mean, it's kind of like what we were talking about before. What was it just yesterday about, or no, it was 2 days ago when, it looks as though you have the two sides coming together. The expectation here has been that President Xi and President Trump are going to sit down at the G20. And then right when that happens and people are talking about building the communications and the exchanges, suddenly President Trump says that, well, if this doesn't work out, I'm going to hit China with a bunch of tariffs on the rest of their goods. So then that just sets, in fact, from a Chinese perspective, it sets things back because then they feel as though they're under pressure. There's a gun to their head. They have to make a decision. And then the way that they would want to behave is that they don't want to be pushed into a corner. They want to be seen as the ones who are opening up the economy on their own volition. And in fact, today, again, President Xi was meeting with private companies, and he was talking about the importance of the role of private companies in the economy and how China is opening it up. And next week, we're expecting a huge import fair, and all of that, even though it's being read overseas as a way in which President Xi can say, hey, we're responding here to the trade war. President Xi and the leadership here just wants to be seen as though they're doing things on their own time. So it's difficult to see how the two are going to resolve it if, from the one hand, you have President Trump saying that we are going to make you do something when the Chinese say, no, we don't want to be seen as being forced into doing something. We're just going to do something on our own.